With a much easier to get $1,000 plus welcome offer, low annual fees, and unlocking a superpower that only 3 other Chase cards have, is the Chase Inc. Preferred the best business credit card? As usual, you do not need a formal business. We'll talk about that later. But in this video, we'll go over the massive welcome bonus, the strengths of the card, unlocking more value from all your Chase points, and my attempt at applying for the card and completing the Chase Business Trifecta, so hope it works out. Alright, so forget about the misconceptions. We're here in the US and we love entrepreneurs and business owners. Meaning it's much easier than you think to qualify for the Chase Inc. Preferred or really any business credit card. Whether you have a side hustle like YouTube or selling on eBay, do a job and got paid, or even just planning out and intend to start and kick off a business, you would technically qualify for these business cards. You don't even need a formal company like an LLC, nor do you have to go through the IRS to get an EIN number. No, at the very basic level, you could apply for these cards as a sole proprietor and use your personal SSN number for the tax ID of the business, given, well, you are the business at that point. And the best part, by qualifying and tapping into this realm of business credit cards, you'll get access to some amazing welcome bonuses that are usually much higher than basic personal cards. For example, we have the Chase Inc. Preferred, but if you look at the closest equivalent on a personal side, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we'll see that there's only a baseline of 60,000 points after a minimum spend in the first 3 months, though there have been times where it's gone up to 80 or even rarer 100,000 points. This one here earned me 80,000 points when I applied for it earlier this year. Now in contrast, the Chase Inc. Preferred has a solid baseline of 100,000 points, which hasn't really changed. So what makes this card so awesome? Well, it's amazing because they dropped the minimum spend required from $15,000 in 3 months to about half at $8,000. And for a small business like mine, it's a pretty major difference, and one of the key reasons why it's pushing me to apply for this card later in this video. Another thing to note is that not only does the Chase Sapphire Preferred have a lower welcome bonus, it's limited to 1 Sapphire cards bonus every 48 months. On the other hand, the Chase Inc. Preferred only has a 24-month limit unless you're applying through different businesses. Maybe you have a social media marketing agency and you spend a ton on ads, but on the side you have a small coffee shop and you have spend there as well, while you want to keep both of those spends separate. Well, that's possible through 2 different cards on 2 different businesses, obtaining 2 different welcome bonuses. Now, this is one of the Chase Inc. cards that does have an annual fee, coming in at $95 a year. But if after the first year using the card you still don't find value on it, you are able to product change it to one of their no annual fee cards like the Chase Inc. Unlimited or Inc. Cash, while keeping your original welcome bonus on the Preferred. But speaking of these Inc. cards, they combined with the Chase Inc. Preferred is what makes up the Chase Business Trifecta, which basically means they're a combination of cards that all complement each other, giving you elevated bonuses across a variety of categories, while letting you pool all those points on the 3rd card and redeeming it for higher value than you could get on the original cards alone. Because on the Inc. Unlimited, you'll mainly use it for non-category spend, while you'll get 1.5 times points per dollar spent. Then on the Inc. Cash, you'll get 5 times points up to $25,000 of spend at office supply stores, internet, cable, and phone services, as well as 2 times back up to the same amount at gas stations and restaurants. Earn all of those points on broad categories, transfer them to a card like the Inc. Preferred, and get even more value out of those points. You've probably heard of the Chase Trifecta, which is a combination of cards that are awesome together for similar reasons. Then when it comes to the Chase Inc. Preferred, what type of earning rates does it come with? Well, it's pretty straightforward, giving you 3 times points up to $150,000 of spend across shipping purchases, advertising, internet, cable, and phone services, and of course travel. You'll also get a temporary boost of 5 times points on Lyft rides through March of 2025. And if you compare the 3 different cards along with all their multipliers, there's a pretty good spread among the 3. You might also notice that that the Ink Unlimited and Cash cards are earning points here as well. And that's because although they're labeled as cashback cards, you'll be earning points instead, which you can then convert to cash at a 1 cent to 1 point rate. And although that's a great floor value compared to most other currencies, like getting 0.6 cents per point on Amex or 0.5 cents per point on Capital One, it's still nowhere near the best we can do. Also, Chase points are the same no matter where you earn them from, whether business cards or personal cards. You'll be able to transfer points between them pretty easily, so you can earn a ton of points through all your basic cards, then move those points to better cards to redeem for better value. Again, which is why systems like these, like the Trifectas, are so powerful. So you get your basic 1 cent per point for cashback, great. There's also a ton of these other ways of using Chase points like gift cards, Apple products, and more. And if you want a full breakdown on maximizing Chase points, I'd recommend checking out this video up in the corner. But in my opinion, the main ones worth considering are cashback and these following 2.5 methods. First, there's using your points for redemptions through their travel portal at an elevated 1.25 cents per point. If we take a look at a popular route like SFO to New York City, we'll see that Google is showing these flights for as low as $198, which is honestly pretty cheap right now. Then if we swap over to the Chase portal, we'll see the same $198 price on Alaska, but then you can also redeem 15,824 points instead, which is the 1.25 cents rate. Now, it's not always the case that these two portals have exactly the same prices, so spend that extra minute or two to cross-check between the two. Usually for popular domestic routes or economy flights, I've noticed them to be pretty similar, but your mileage may vary. Then there's the half method on using your points through the pay yourself back categories. Historically, there's been some pretty decent categories through this program, but throughout the years they've been downgraded and downgraded to the point where right now on the Chase Ink Preferred, you'll only get that 1.25 cents rate if you're redeeming points for charities. But who knows, maybe in the future they'll change it up again, so keep an eye out for any category changes for the pay yourself back program. And then of course, the most lucrative way of using your Chase points is through transferring to their travel partners. Now, I have a full video going through step by step my process on doing so, but just so we know that things are working, let's walk through an actual example that is available as of the time of this filming. One of my favorite partners for Chase is Aeroplan, and that's because they have some pretty awesome rates for flying from the West Coast over to Asia for just 55, 75, or 87.5 thousand points, depending on the distance. I think that something like Seattle to Japan would be 55,000, something like SFO to Taipei is 75,000, and LAX to Singapore is 87.5. So if you look at the latter, we can see that there's actually availability for next year, flying out in early July and flying back in mid-July, while costing about 87,500 points each way and a couple $100 in fees. Notice how the economy flight is just a little bit less at a whopping 60,000 points. Then checking on Google, comparing to the cash fare, that points us at about $5,000, which means dividing the two, you'll get about a value of 2.85 cents per point. Higher than the typical 2 cents average we try and aim for, but obviously not the best. If you're able to find availability for flights to Asia in the 55 or 75,000 point range, then you'll probably get a much better value given the cash fares for those flights are relatively similar. Then there are regular transfer bonuses too, like this 20% bonus from Chase to Aeroplan that just happened, which will again lower the number of points needed and increase the value. So that was an airline example, but when we look at other transfer partners, one that stands out is Hyatt, given its pretty good award chart and easier to find availability, where you can get 2 to 3 cents per point in some major cities like New York City or international ones like Tokyo. Or if you're Ask Sebi and you go to Alila Ventana Big Sur, where in the worst case you'd get like 5.5 cents per point in value, even better than the Aeroplan example. So that's all great, knowing that you can get thousands in value right off the bat. But what else does the Chase Ink Preferred offer you? First off, there's the effect it and other businesses business cards have on your 524 status. If you're not aware, the Chase 524 says that you won't be approved for new Chase cards if you've had 5 or more new cards in the last 24 months. However, with business cards like the Chase Ink Preferred, you will need to be under 524 to qualify, but once you're approved, it will not count towards your 524 status. This is why business cards are more popular for people in the mid to late game of the credit card journeys. There are data points of people being approved over 524, but I wouldn't look too much into it. You also get cell phone protection up to $1,000 a claim for you and your employees listed on the monthly bill, up to a maximum of 3 claims in 12 months with a $100 deductible. There's also trip cancellation and interruption insurance, car rental damage waiver, purchase protection, and extended warranty with terms on the screen. One perk to clarify though is the car rental damage waiver. You'll get primary coverage if you're renting for business anywhere in the world or for personal reasons outside of your home country, say the US. You also get primary insurance if you don't already have a personal auto insurance. It's a bit weird, but is likely due to calculations and probabilities that the underwriting insurance companies ask for. Alright, now before I go through the application process, I do want to document my credit profile for a data point to reference in case you're going through the same scenarios. Now looking at my Credit Karma, my scores across TransUnion and Equifax are in the 760s after a major drop, likely because I've had increased utilization given I've been booking a ton for my upcoming Asia trip, as well as getting approved for my auto loan for my very first personal car. Although I did get the lowest rates possible, looking at the rates now still hurts knowing that just a few years ago, the auto loan rates were in the sub 2%. I'm also under the 524 rule, being at 324, with my latest card being the Amex Green, although I don't think I got a hard pull for that, given Amex sometimes doesn't hard pull if you are applying for a second, third, or more cards. Cool, so if you go to the card page, you'll land on something like this that shows you everything we've talked about, from the multipliers to the 100,000 point welcome bonus, as well as most importantly, the reduction of the spending requirement from $15,000 to just $8,000 in the first 3 months. If we then scroll down, we'll also see a calculator to see how many points you can earn depending on how much you spend on which category, as well as other Chase Ink cards like the unlimited and cash cards, which we talked about earlier, having no annual fees, as well as a pretty good $750 or 75,000 points welcome bonus. Cool, so let's go back up and go through the application. Cool, so on this section, the first part will ask you about your personal info. So if you're like me, your officer title would probably be owner because it's just me with the business, but you may want to choose something else depending on your setup. Then of course, your personal first name, last name, suffix, so let me put that in here, as well as your date of birth and mother's maiden name, pretty standard. If we scroll down, it'll ask you for your tax ID, and for me personally, I'll be putting in my social security number here. Then further down, you have your address, as well as your email address and mobile number. Then further down, you also get your gross annual income, but remember, this is not just your W-2, but any other monetary support you have, in addition to any non-taxable income you might have. Cool, so I'll go back up and fill out this personal section, then we'll come back and then go through the business info. Cool, so here's the business info. First, it'll ask you about your legal business structure. For most of you, I would assume you're probably an LLC or sole proprietorship, depending on whether you went through the process to actually incorporate your business. And then after that, it'll ask for your business legal name, as well as the desired business name you want on your card. Personally, it's the same for both. Go down, it'll ask you if you have a DBA or doing business as. Personally, I do not, it's just the standard name, so I'll select no here, but if you did, you would enter that here. And then tax ID. Here, it really depends on whether you went through the IRS to get an actual EIN, or maybe you're a sole proprietor and still using your own SSN. Either way works, so you just have to fill that in here. Then you have your business physical address, which for me is the same as a personal, so I will put yes, it's the same, as well as number of employees. So if it's just me, it's telling me to enter 0, so I'll do that. as well as business phone number. And then some info specific to your business, like when it was established, as well as the annual business revenue. If you haven't gone through a whole year yet, or you're increasing revenue every month, then you can take one of those months, multiply it by 12 to get your estimated annual business revenue. Next, you'll be asked to choose your business category, which I believe Chase uses to kind of label your account. And the closest I could find here is actually through information, then internet broadcasting like social network, and then internet broadcasting again, social network. Then it'll ask you how much monthly estimated spend you have. Maybe you run ads, you're gonna buy equipment, or you're paying for services. Total that up and put that estimate in here. Then next, if you want to add in the employee cards, no I do not, as well as going paperless. Though note, remember to set up autopay because I actually forgot on my Chase Sapphire Preferred and got dinged for it, though fortunately I was able to take those charges off. And then of course some information like pricing and terms you should always read through before you go down and click the checkbox before you go to submit. So I'm going to go through the business section and fill out all of my info, then come back here and go through the submit process. Cool, so I went through everything. I'm going to check the box and see what happens. Alright, so it says thanks for applying and that it's in review, and I'll know in 7 to 10 business days. But actually I just checked my phone and it seems like I got the email saying, Kevin, your new Chase credit card is approved. So I'll take a screenshot of the approval email and show it here on the screen. Alright, cool. So approval for the card means that I completed my Chase business trifecta. It'll take some time to hit that minimum spend, but $8,000 is still much lower than $15,000. And a nice way to really charge up my Chase points, which are oh so valuable. But to make sure you're putting those points to good use, go on and check out this video to make sure you're maximizing value for your Chase points. See you over there.